you get a stimulus check, and you get a stimulus check, and you... Sorry. What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. First of all, if you did get your stimulus check, congratulations. You correctly navigated the jigsaw puzzle that is the IRS, and I hope you put that money to good use. However, I know that there are many of you who are still wondering, where's your stimulus check? So today, I just want to clear up some questions that I've been receiving and discuss a few different scenarios that I haven't really seen mentioned very often that could be the reason why you either won't be receiving a stimulus check at all, or hopefully why you just haven't received it yet. So make sure to stick around to the end to make sure that you aren't one of the groups that is falling through the cracks. With that being said, be sure to subscribe and gently tap the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so according to the IRS website, more than 80 million Americans are expected to get their stimulus check by today, which is April 15th. But that leaves tens of millions of Americans wondering, where's their stimulus check? So the first and most obvious reason why you haven't yet received your stimulus check is because the IRS does not yet have your banking information. I'm sure you know this by now since everyone has been talking about it, but the payments that went out today and earlier this week were to individuals who filed their 2018 and 2019 tax returns and gave the IRS their banking information to make a direct deposit. So if you haven't done this yet, don't worry, your check is still on its way. You may just have to go to the IRS banking info tool that is supposed to go live later this month in order to input your banking information, or you can wait for the check to be mailed to you. The good news is that the IRS is launching a tool called Get My Payment that will supposedly be live on April 17th, where you'll be able to check the status of your stimulus check and find out exactly where your payment is at. The next group that has fallen through the cracks that I did mention before is dependents who are over the age of 16. Remember that one of the qualifications to receive a stimulus check is that you must not be claimed as a dependent on anyone's tax return. And if you are claimed as a dependent, that person who is claiming you will only receive the $500 bonus if you are 16 years old or younger. This means that there are millions of college students who are claimed as a dependent and will not be receiving a stimulus check as a result. However, it's not just college students who have fallen through the cracks because of this qualification for dependents. There are millions of Americans who are either grown adults who are still living with their parents and therefore are claimed on their parents' tax returns, or there are a lot of cases of older senior citizens who live with their children and are claimed as a dependent on their child's tax return. If you fall into either of these categories, then unfortunately you will not be receiving a stimulus check, since again you are claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return. This is obviously a hot topic since that means that there are millions of senior citizens who were hardworking taxpayers for 40 to 50 years, but will not receive any benefit for themselves, and the person claiming them will not receive any benefit since obviously they are over the age of 16. Hopefully, if there is a second round of stimulus payments, which we did talk about in one of my previous videos, then these excluded individuals will be included, but unfortunately, this is the current situation that we are in. However, there is some good news for those senior citizens who are not claimed as a dependent. If you are a beneficiary of Social Security, then you will be receiving a stimulus check automatically, and the IRS did recently announce that you do not need to file your 2019 taxes in order to receive a stimulus check. If you are on Social Security and receive these benefits through direct deposit, then the IRS will automatically deposit your payment into the same bank account that they have on file. Hopefully you are in the clear so far and none of these disqualifications that I mentioned apply to you. So the next headache that could keep you from receiving your stimulus check is if you are recently divorced or estranged from your spouse. We are currently 4 months into 2020, meaning that if you have gotten a divorce in the past 4 months or are simply not on speaking terms with your spouse, then this could lead to a choppy situation in regards to receiving your stimulus check. Remember that couples filing jointly will receive one $2,400 paycheck deposited into whatever account was on file. However, this is in regards to your 2018 or 2019 tax return, meaning that if you've divorced since then, the IRS has no way of knowing that they now need to send you a check for a single filer for $1,200. Another odd situation that kind of goes along with this is parents who are divorced but have a split custody of their children. You will receive an additional $500 for any child under the age of 16 who is claimed as a dependent on your tax return, but obviously both divorced parents cannot each claim the same child as a dependent. I know many divorced parents will alternate who gets to claim dependency on their tax return each year, so maybe you got lucky and claimed your child in 2019. but if you didn't claim your child as a dependent, then the IRS won't know to give you that additional $500 bonus. If you happen to find yourself in this sticky situation, you really have two main options. The first is to have an open line of communication with your spouse or former spouse and figure out exactly how you will split up your stimulus check when it is deposited into your joint account. However, if that isn't possible for whatever reason, then I would do everything you can to get in front of this, meaning if you're divorced towards the end of 2019, then you can and should file as a single individual since your tax status is what you were on the last day of the year. This brings me to the opposite side of the love spectrum, which is individuals who were recently married. Now, if you're older and have been independent for a number of years, then this does not apply to you, since even if you filed as a single tax filer in 2019, you will still receive a $1,200 check, and your spouse will likely receive the same as long as they meet the income qualifications. Plus, if you filed as a married couple, then it also doesn't matter because you will receive the same total of $2,400. However, if you were previously claimed as a dependent on your parents' most recent tax return, but recently got married either at the end of 2019 or in 2020, then the IRS likely has your social security number marked down as a dependent and will not be sending you a stimulus check as a result. This is another sticky situation, but the good news is that if you did get married at the end of 2019, then again, your tax status is what you were on the last day of the year. So you can and should still file as a married couple for 2019, and therefore you will be able to get your $2,400 check as long as you are below the income threshold of $150,000. The next reason you may not receive your stimulus check is if you are an immigrant who does not have a social security number. Remember that you do not need to be a US citizen in order to receive a stimulus check, but you do need to have a social security number, meaning that immigrants who have a green card or a H-1B or H-2A visa will qualify. But if you are a temporary worker or an immigrant, then the IRS does not have a social security number for you and will not be sending you a stimulus check. Another excluded group that is a bit odd is babies who were born in 2020. Now, obviously the IRS is not going to send a 3-month-old infant a $1,200 check, but this does mean that the parents of that child will not receive the $500 additional payment in their stimulus check since it is based off your 2019 tax return. The good news is that you are entitled to this $500 and you will receive it, but you'll simply have to wait until you file your 2020 taxes, which would be in early 2021. I know this sounds like it is really far away, but at least you know that you will receive this money eventually. You'll just have to wait, and unless you've had quadruplets this year, thankfully, you won't be waiting on a large amount of money. Okay, so if you've navigated all of those hurdles and none of these things that I just discussed apply to you, then you may be wondering why you haven't received your stimulus check. Well, assuming that the IRS does in fact have your banking information and you do meet all of the other income qualifications, then I'd say really you don't have anything to worry about and you just need to be patient. I know that millions of individuals did receive their stimulus check payments in the last 2 days or so, but the IRS is sending out round after round of payments, so just sit tight. And in the worst case scenario, you can always go on that Get My Payment portal that will hopefully be live within the next week, and you'll be able to pinpoint exactly why your specific payment has not been approved yet. Now, if you did navigate all of these hurdles, but you know for a fact that the IRS does not have your banking information, then I would do everything you can to make sure that they have that as soon as possible, unless you want to wait until the end of summer or even early fall to get your stimulus payment mailed to you. There are 2 ways that you can ensure that the IRS has your banking information. The first is pretty simple, and that is to file your 2019 tax return and include your banking information on that form. And hopefully once the IRS receives your 1040 and is able to update that banking information, then they will send you your payment as soon as possible through direct deposit. Your other option is to wait for the IRS to open their banking information portal, which is said to arrive by the end of April. Here you'll be able to input your information and ensure that the IRS has the correct account and routing number on file. And if you know that you qualify for a stimulus check but don't really care when you get it, then I wouldn't worry about getting them your banking information and clogging up the system, since you can just hang tight and you'll probably receive your check within the next several months. I know all of this has been a bit of a headache for a lot of people, but I promise once you get your stimulus payment, especially if you really need that money right now, it will all be worth the headache. With all of that being said, just remember that I am just a guy on the internet, and while I did gather all of this information from reputable sources, including the IRS website, make sure that you do your own research and check the IRS website for the most up-to-date and accurate information. If you have any questions at all and would like my unprofessional opinion, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'm more than happy to help you navigate this unusual situation. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and hit that like button if you did get value out of today's video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out my video. I appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.